A very good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Savitri Bai Phule Resource Center and the School of International Studies, I, Anuprabha, welcome you all to today's informative and inspiring session that we have organized on navigating legal careers and early career opportunities for lawyers in India and abroad. And it is wonderful to see all of you enthusiastically participate in today's session. I am seeing a lot of aspiring students and lawyers present with us today. And the reality of the legal field today is that it is no longer limited to traditional court practice. We are seeing that from litigation, policy research, international law, arbitration, academia, mediation, fellowships, and interdisciplinary careers. The legal profession is honestly expanding and in very exciting ways. And today's session is especially important because we have been joined by two active people and accomplished speakers who are very much qualified in their in the legal field, and they have a lot of experience and insights that they are going to share with us today. So before we begin, I would like to warmly welcome today's speakers, Mr. Rajesh Ranjan and Vrishti Sharma. We are Vrishti Shami, I'm sorry. We are very happy to have you both today. Moving forward, I would also like to briefly introduce the Savitribai Phule Resource Center for Education of Marginalized Section. It was established with the very vision of addressing the inequalities that exist in our society today and to prevent the drop offs that usually happen after the students from marginalized sections pursue their bachelor studies. So, Savitribai Phule Resource Centers, since the past few years, have been working on uplifting this very section of students, and we proudly share that more than two batches of our students have accomplished selections in prestigious universities of India. Now we are also focusing on the education that exists abroad. So now it is my being privileged to introduce our first speaker for the evening, Miss Vrishti Shami, and she is a lawyer, researcher, and an affiliate fellow at the Dr. Ambedkar Chair at Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad. She is also an icon reporter for What's New in Public Law, where she also contributes to important conversations. Previously, she has worked as a research consultant at the Supreme Court of India at Jindal Center of Justice, Law and Society. And apart from her academic and research contributions, she has written extensively for reputed publications and newspapers, including the Hindu, the Indian Express. And ma'am, we are very delighted to have you with us today. Moving forward, the speaker number two is Mr. Rajesh Ranjan, and he's a Shivning scholar and a lawyer researcher currently based in London. He has previously worked as a research consultant at the Supreme Court of India as well as the National Legal Services Authority. His academic and professional journey is very remarkable, and his journey is especially inspiring for students aspiring to explore opportunities beyond conventional career paths that we have today and engage with global academic and professional spaces. So, we are extremely grateful to have you today as well. Thank you so much, both of you, for your presence. Now, I would like to invite our first speaker, Vrishti Shami ma'am, for their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Anupama. That was really nice of you. So, thank you so much. Um, so, Rajesh and I have been discussing, and we thought that a good place to start would be to discuss the challenges that law students from marginalized communities face when they're, particularly trying to head in to the internship space or trying to understand what careers need to look like. And the primary challenges, I think, the two primary challenges are difficulty in accessing resources and also access to institutional spaces. So for a lot of people, who will come from privileged backgrounds or upper caste, dominant caste kind of backgrounds, they will know, okay, what are opportunities that they can look at, or what are career paths that they can look at. Like you said, now law is no longer limited to litigation. There are so many other options. So, how do you know what kinds of options are there? If you're interested in something like, say, corporate law, then how do you reach out to people? Who do you know to reach out to? What kind of firms should you be looking at? What are areas of laws that you can look at? And also, what are trajectories that, career trajectories in these spaces? A lot of people who go on to work in these spaces are like, will do a master's abroad, you will find ki, they come from generational wealth or they have a lot of funding. So it's much easier for them to say that, oh, we went to so and so university. Whereas for us to even imagine that, okay, this is a place where we can go is in itself such a daunting task. How do you look at applications? Who do you reach out to? All of these are really daunting questions, especially as younger law students. And secondly, accessing resources, knowing what are the kinds of materials you should be looking at, who are people you should be reaching out to. um, Especially if you want to say go into a particular area of law, then again, what is the kind of material in that space? Do you need to just look at case law, if you, or like what are other readings that you need to be doing? How do you present yourself? All of these are challenges. Additionally, like what are the kinds of tools then you can use, are also questions that come up. How do you present yourself? Developing your CV, and also knowing what are spaces that you can reach out to. So those were largely areas that we thought we could touch upon. Rajesh, do you want to come in and speak a little bit about how these are challenges we can overcome them?
Yeah, thank you, Vrishti, for pointing out the challenges. Having said that, and to be from what Vrishti said, uh, to move and think beyond these challenges, one way is to work on the basic skill that you need to work in your law school. So, first important thing and first important factor is the CV, because whatever you do, your CV should be reflection of that. So to build that, I would say that internships. I mean, one of the factors that you can include in your CV is that what you have done so far. What is your work experience? What is your research experience? What is your practical experience beyond the text of the law and the text of the different facets that you do in your law schools? So one important factor that I would say is that apply anywhere. I mean, people say that cold email does not work. I will tell you, I have done so many cold emails in the past, not now. And a lot of people, especially people from abroad, reply. We have this tendency to not reply to the people and to not engage. But I have done a lot of emails to people whom I didn't know in past, and then they sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work, but at least try. Second factor is that when you apply, at least ensure that what you're seeking for. If you want an internship from any lawyer, let's say that if you want to work with Prasant, or if you want to work with Christie or PayPal, so what is their profile? What is their area of expertise? So at least do a basic research. Go to internet. Internet has a lot of resources. Even if you put my name or somebody else's name and say that what this person do, you will get a link of factors that these persons have been involved on. So do a basic research, get involved with their work, and it should be a kind of a presentable structure. What I mean by a presentable structure is also that, as Besti pointed out, and it's also the research that says that if you see people who are coming from a privileged background, the confidence is something very different than the people who born and grew up in the background, which is difficult for them in terms of all strands, caste, class, gender. So it's important that your presentable structure, because it's sad, it's also unequal in many sense, but it's also that you need to fit into that structure, the structure that has been designed for years in these professions. So I guess yeah, these two factors are important in overcoming the challenges. Just to sum up, is the one the CV. When I talk about the CV, it should include a list of things that you have done. It can also include publication. For instance, in my case, I started writing in my second year of law school, despite coming from a Hindi medium background. So it's also that you don't need to confine that many of you must have written in the Marathi language or some other regional languages, but that should not be your hindrance in what you want to do or what you want to achieve in larger realm of the life and career. So this is very important that you start, thinking on these lines, that what do you want in your CV. And these days there are a lot of, let me tell you, a lot of free online enough material which is available. You need to just look at. For instance, if you go to LAOT Nalsar YouTube channel, LAOT and Seed used to do writing workshops. So you will have also videos that how to write, how to structures. Some professors in the Harvard has a free online resources. Maybe after this session, I will email to Prasant, and then all of you can benefit out of it. So for the writing and research, you can use all these factors. Is that so that you can you have a CV in which you can, and also the ability to collaborate. Many of us are being taught in a sense that collaboration is not important. For instance, I and Bristy collaborated for many of our articles to get published there, because when you talk and engage with a lot of people, you also and I would say that collaborate with diverse set of people, because your own experience is very different than what other person can bring to the table. So don't be afraid from these things. Law schools are the best place to collaborate with different strands of people, to meet different people, to understand what they think of the world and the pressing issues that we see in our life and in the larger realm of the world. Yes, do you add anything, Christy, to these things?
Yeah, I think all great points. Just to expand on a few things, I think one is, like Rajesh said, right, networking is important. Reach out to people. So initially you might not know who are people to reach out to, so reach out to your seniors, reach out to faculty. If your faculty have office hours, write to them, speak with them, let them know. Look up your faculty. A lot of them will have had interesting experiences. It's not necessary that they came straight into academia. They might have worked somewhere before they came. So again, like Rajesh is saying, one, like, before you reach out, have clarity, of course, about why are you reaching out, but know that there are people around you, even if you feel like you don't necessarily want to reach out to entirely new people in the beginning, but you can always reach out to faculty, you can always reach out to your seniors, alumni who might be from your university. These are also good places to start, and you can then start with smaller things. If you feel like, okay, a collaboration is something daunting, then you can always ask for a research assistance, or if they are working on a project, to be part of that project. If they have an internship opening, just like Rajesh is saying, I think confidence is key in this. Like, don't feel like you don't belong in these spaces, or these are not questions you can ask people bold questions. It's very likely that, like he said, some people might not respond, but you never know who will, and what that might lead to. So that is something that I think, just try and reach out to as many people. And one, of course, is work on your CV. Like he was saying, publications are important, but in that sense, then also try and build a online presence. Like LinkedIn is a great tool that way, which you can use. So you can reach out to people via LinkedIn. You'll build your profile there as well, but that's a great place to find people who have done the kind of interesting work that you might be looking at. Like Rajesh is saying, there are so many organizations that do a lot of this work. Seed, of course, does a lot of it. So you can look up the speakers that they've invited, what is the kind of work that they have done, who are other people who Seed might be collaborating with, or other organizations might be collaborating with. So just do a very comprehensive sort of research and then start reaching out to people, because somebody or the other will at some point respond to you. I think particularly if you're looking to do, say, corporate or research, then these are like really great tools, because one, it shows that you are proactive like that, and two, if somebody else before you has done this, and you just, even if you just want to have a conversation and understand ki, theek hai, how do I go about something like this, it is always helpful that you are showing that initiative and building on that interest. So I think people always appreciate that. Yeah. Rajesh, do you want to add something else?
Yeah, I also want to add something which is beyond the CV. I would say that build a kind of reading habit. These days, I also don't able to read as much I used to read before, and mostly the credit goes to the reels that we see every day in life. But having said that, I mean, at least the way reading makes you, different is that at least when it comes to interviews, when it comes to a kind of group discussions that corporate firms organize, your opinion will be more nuanced than anybody else that who has not done a reading. What makes anybody different is that the kind of reading that you do. So I would say that in law school, if I reflect back and say that what I have done differently, I would have done differently is that to read beyond what is prescribed in the course, read a book which your friend may be suggesting. We have a professor here in SOAS, Prasant might be knowing it, River Brass, and she was sharing an anecdote which is very interesting to me. Is that old Italian people used to sit together and share the snippets of the different scholarly work, and they in each evening, the next evening, let's say that I shared the to my friends here today, and next evening they sit together and discuss what you have read and what you think of this. And just very close to this place is a college called Berwick, where Karl Marx used to write the book of Capital, right? Yeah, sorry. So, and the idea is that most of these discourses were enriched by the people who were around them. So the one way is to also is that if you're not, it's not humanly possible to read all of the text that is available. So you talk to people who reads these kind of stuffs. Maybe make a reading kind of group that, for instance, whenever we talk anybody, I mean, some of my friends are here also. So we discuss and different strands of life. Somebody, Prasant is bringing the anthropological strands. Deepak is bringing something from the sociological point of view. I am bringing something from the legal point of view. So that is very enriched kind of spec to do, and that is also very important to begin with beyond the CVs and presentation. And I'm sure that your presentation will be very different when you start reading and when you have at least a good reading grasp, in a sense that you are able to answer this any questions. For instance, there's a question on, let's say that a corporate law firm, which I will come to the later part of this presentation, and the question is on that: what do you think of corporate ethics? If you have read philosophy, your answer would be very different than a typical corporate lawyer answer, that you should not steal the documents, you should not send the email. The ethics goes beyond this rubric of stealing and sharing the information. The ethics also is that how you respond to your colleague, how you listen to your colleague, and do you have this ability to to take account all kind of diverse and different views, which is increasingly, trust me, not just Indian society, increasingly globally, this is decreasing among the people, and sadly among the young people to to disagree, to move forward and work together. And that's not I'm saying, that's actually a McKinsey research that has came out 2 3 days back, which is arguing on these lines. So I would say that also build on these three things. Now we'll move forward to the opportunities and the different strands. Bristi, do you want to begin?
Yeah, sure. So, largely, I think the way that we thought we'd go about this is we could speak about research opportunities, fellowships, teaching, and corporate roles, etc. So, to just begin with, I'll speak about the research opportunities, and then Rajesh, you can take over. But I think with research, one thing to know is that you don't necessarily need to get into research after you graduate. That is something that you can start building for yourself as an undergraduate student. That is something which I had done as well, where you work with research centers where you feel like there is interesting work happening in the way that you would be interested in, or like fields of law which you might be interested in. Some good research centers to look at would be, say, Vidhi right now is doing a lot of work at Law and Policy. You can also look at the Center for Policy Research. The Supreme Court, of course, has the Center for Research and Planning, which has openings for judicial law clerks, and there's the exam which happens, and you can also, of course, intern there, apply there as well. I used to work at this Jindal-based center called the Center for Justice, Law and Society. They also have a lot of internship openings. A lot of universities, in addition to this, of course, have other openings that you can look at. NLU Delhi has a lot of these. If you're looking at Bangalore, there's the Center for Law and Policy Research. So lots of now research centers have come up which do legal research. And the way to get into that, of course, there are multiple ways. But one would be that, again, you email these places, you write to them, you look at the kind of work that they are doing and how it might align with your interests and how you can then build on this. Like Rajesh had mentioned, if you start writing, and you don't necessarily need to begin by writing in journals, right? Write in newsletters, write blogs, and then build your way up. Just build some sort of scholarship around this. Then, of course, it helps if you're reaching out to someone through that route. or if you can find somebody who is already working in these areas, a professor or somebody independently who you can shadow for a while and work with, then those are also great ways of getting into this field. And I think also attend, if possible, attend talks, attend any events which might be happening, especially in person, because that also helps you understand the kind of work or the kind of scholarship people are building in these places, and then how can you fit into them, or like how can you apply, how do you reach out to people. It's also much easier, I think, if you are in a physical space to then go and reach out to people. So if you can attend talks, especially if there's something happening in your university or nearby, then I think that is also a great way of going about it. So in that sense, I think internships, if your universities offer teaching assistant positions, then definitely look at those as well. They are a great way of understanding what academic training requires, how do you become a professor, or what are the requirements in that space. And also it can help you build future collaborations with faculty, etc. If you have a research idea of your own, or a project which you would like to pitch, then find the right faculty, or find like Rajesh was saying, find like-minded peers, students, anybody with whom you can build on it, and then you can do research accordingly. So those are all ways through which you can enter these spaces. Rajesh, do you want to take up fellowships?
Thank you, Vristi. So, just to pick up from where Vristi left, is also that the fuel of research is reading. So, again, I would reiterate this point at the cost of repetition: is that to read more and to at least first 3 years of the law school should be not first 4 years of the law school should be best on the reading. Read as much as you can read, and then coming to what are the opportunities in the research beyond our Indian setup is also you can look of Institute for, let's say, that artificial intelligence, which is in the Cambridge. There's also Center for Research here in UK. So a lot of these research centers have internships, legal fellowships, which is open for particularly final year law students or in the recent graduate, undergraduate or the postgraduate students. So you can also think on these lines. Most of the challenge that we didn't think beyond in our, I also used not to think before coming here, is that to move beyond your comfort zone, to think that there are opportunities beyond your own country. And I mean, of course, if you go out, you also think that the work everywhere is more or less similar because we are a common law country, and uh, much of our legal system drew from the legal system from UK, Australia, Canada. These are all legal system which is very similar to each other and complement each other in many ways. So yeah, and then also in terms of litigation, you can join Chamber, and there are some of the litigation fellowship which I want to mention. One is the Indian Litigation Fellowship. Some of my friend also from Maharashtra did the Indian Litigation Fellowship. There are JS Verma fellowships for the young lawyers. NLSIU has a litigation fellowships, and apart from that, there are also law firms who gives a kind of yearly career policy work. For instance, Cam, one of my senior who is now in Melbourne and doing a PhD, a great academic person, Anmol Jain, has done and worked in the Sahil Amarchand Mangaldas policies division. So you can also think AZB, SAM, Trilegal. These are some of the law firm which is also have policy and public law segments as well. But I want to this. I mean, I want to say this caveat is that these law firms have also a very different state of functioning. So you need to build on your CV and then do internships so that you can also rely on the multiple options. So just not need to rely on the one law firm. Apart from that, I guess in the litigation and the in the corporate sector, you can also consider Luthra and ELP, economic law practices. Then in-house, we have Tata, Wipro, Infosys, SDFC. These are some of the law firm, sorry, in-house companies, which is very good. Some of my seniors are working in Wipro. There are two ways to look at this. I understand that some of times in college and also beyond the college, we have some our own political ideologies and aspects of working and seeing the life in a very different sense. But when it comes to work, I would suggest that be pragmatic. You also need a kind of support system to build on, and to think of on these idealism beyond your comfort zone. So there is no harm in even in working in the organization, which you may not agree for some reasons, which is apparent or latent. So you can also look beyond this, and as Bristi mentioned, the Center for Legal Policy does a lot of work beyond the spectrum, and you can also think of joining these organizations as well. Then TRAI is there, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, SBI, Reserve Bank. These are also some of the places where you can think of working. You may dislike or not like the government and its policies, but these are the institutions which work for the people ultimately. And there are also gray lines where if you go and work in these organizations, you can do and achieve but much more what you can do also from outside. I mean, I'm not saying that this is not important, but you can also think of working institutionally for just for the experience, just for the exposure, just for yourself, that how these institutions work. In fact, I would say that in these spaces, in the country like UK, Germany, France, people always distinguish institutions and individual, which we lack in our system. So don't be harsh on yourself while choosing the career in these, saying that this does not fit in my ideological spectrum. There is no spectrum as such when you begin working, at least in early careers. As the title of the season says, in your later career, you will always have this liberty to join the workplace, which is of your own convenience. Do you want to add anything, Bristi?
I think just like you were saying, Rajesh, I think yes, ideology is important, but one, I think always, like Rajesh is saying, be open to diverse roles and diverse positions, because you really don't know what you will learn. You might think that, oh, I don't want to go into a corporate setup because it will be too rigid or something like that. But again, those are places where you will still learn more work ethic. You will learn discipline. You will learn to be time bound and deliver projects on time, and professionalism in a way that you might not in another organization. So I think always look at these things as learning opportunities. And second, is yes, ideology, again, like I said, is important, but in early careers it is also important to acknowledge how much of a role does financial stability play for you, because that is, I mean, all said and done, that is why we are going into these careers. So don't think that just because this is like a lot of money or because it's too commercial is not something I will do. Yes, find the right balance for yourself, but remember that financial stability is a big part of what you will do. And so see where you can find that balance, and don't, like Rajesh is saying, don't just reject places on the basis of ideological differences, or your, for the lack of a better word, inability to differentiate between the institution and the person. A lot of things you can learn from these places, which are skills which may later help you. And like Rajesh said, you can always transition later on. So even if, say, you don't want a career in corporate law, I would still say that if you're not entirely unsure or have entirely shut that option down, at least try and find an internship. Try and be in these spaces to see if they are for you. Because as early career lawyers or undergraduate students, we don't necessarily always know what is the right fit for us. And the idea is to try and be open to as many spaces. And you never know, you might in these places find what you like. And now there, even in India, people are now more open to looking at intersections of law, policy, even corporate law, human rights. There are intersections happening. So you can always enter those spaces as well. So you really don't know what experience will come in handy where. So I think just be open to, all kinds of opportunities that come your way.
Yeah, thank you, Bristi. So moving forward, there are also some, as Bristi talk about the commercial opportunities. So there's few law firm which I specifically I want to mention is that Linklater, Clifford Chance, Freshfield. These are the law firms in UK which is very important and have been known for hiring people from South Asian background. So, in fact, some of my friends also work in Linklater and HSF. So, and always, for instance, some of you, if you want to apply for Linklater, you can always reach out to me and say that I want to connect with somebody who is working in Linklater, or look at my CV, look at my SOP. What does it, does it make sense to you, or do you want make some changes? And be open to changes. Of course, be all. For instance, if I say some draft with Bistri, C, always comment something which is, I may agree or disagree, but I always look from my own point of view whether this is important comment on my draft or not. Always be open that include these changes what other person is saying, because they give you a perspective which is very different from what you think of or you may not encounter in your daily experiences. So there are also two routes. One is the bar route, which is the SQU, which is called Solicitor Qualifying Examinations. So these are also, and there is also SQU2, which is where you work with a solicitor, and then after a year of working with a solicitor, you can apply for the examinations. Similar like we have in India, a bar examinations, but very different in terms of practicalities. So let's say if you are in your third year or fourth year of law school, you can think of all these options and start researching, planning. There are also organizations which actually fund to prepare for SQ and all, which I was also not aware before coming here. So these are a very important factor. The other thing which I want to mention is that there are a lot of fellowships which International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice, World Bank, and then OSCHR, which is Office of Human Rights Commission, UN International Law Fellowship, Permanent Court of Arbitration, which is also office in Delhi these days, ICJ Judicial Fellowship Program. So these are some of the fellowship which is very important. And one of the factors that we didn't encounter in our Indian setting is the language. So if you have the curiosity to learn French and other language, let's say that Arabic, lot of opportunity these days because of war. It has stuttered, but UAE was a site for a lot of law firms for long time. Singapore, it's also a very important country when it comes to the career in litigation law and especially the interdisciplinary aspect. But to work in all these countries, you need to learn the language. For instance, I wanted to apply for a fellowship in Geneva, but I didn't know the French. So where the practical difficulty comes because you don't know the language. And these organizations, trust me, very rigid when it comes to language. You need to know one language extra than the English. To understand English, learning English itself is a difficulty for many of us. But then if you get a chance, you should learn these languages, French, Mandarin, or even Spanish, because a lot of these UN listed languages are very important to work in these organizations. So these are some of the broad opportunities which we wanted to cover and talk today. I think we are good to take questions.
What about German language and other means? I am in the clinical research field from last 20 years and taking the admission for law for 3 years. I am facing some corporate challenges, internal.
I'm losing your voice in between. You are in clinical.
I am in the clinical research field from last 20 years.
Right.
So research on medicine, vaccines, biologicals, medical devices on that part. Work with Indian companies, global pharma companies also. And also working with this. And have taken admission for the law.
Right. So 3-year law?
3-year law.
Oh, nice.
I have done the diploma from Mumbai University for the German language also.
Oh, nice.
So, could you guide me how to get more in the from the legal point of view, from the molecule patent point of view, or in the corporate law, or what will be the better opportunity?
So there are a few places where you can think of. In fact, some days back, I was talking to somebody who works in WIPO. I'm sure you were knowing this, the World Intellectual Property Organization. And considering you have a very diverse experience of working in clinical medicine, you can work on these issues with these organizations. I'm afraid because I don't have much knowledge how WPO works, but I can check and get back to you at any time.
Um,
That will be great help. Yeah, Rishi.
Also, so just to add to that, you mentioned you're also, I'm sorry, I don't know if I got this wrong, but you mentioned you're also learning German, was it?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
have done the diploma in German language from Mumbai University.
Right. So there are a lot of IP institutes in Germany which you could also look at. So, for instance, I think the Goethe Institute in Germany does a lot of this work, and also I'm forgetting the name of the university. I'll just type it out in the chat box for you in a minute. But there's this one university in Germany which has an IP center, and they also hire RAs from India for especially people who have a background in, say, IP or along those lines. So I know of a few people who are now working in those spaces on patenting, I think, DNA patterns and things like that. So that might be something which might interest you as well. I'll just type out the name in the chat box. I'll check and get back to you.
That will be great help. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and also there are some organizations in UK which I know. So there is this International German Center in UK. It's at Moorgate or somewhere. I think Prasad would correct me. Is that so? Organizations works for the German interest. I mean, it's a German organization, but they have a lot of people from South Asia working and who have a German knowledge. They work in primarily in German language. You can also think of on the intersection of biomedicine and law, because this is also very interesting field these days emerging. So of course I will have to more check, to be honest. But this is the limited knowledge which I have on these intersections of medicine and law.
Yeah, I will check for the biomedicine in law also. I am independent director from Ministry of Corporate Affairs also.
Oh, nice. I think Misty has typed out the institute's name, so you can copy it and then take it
Both
forward
are
from
on
there.
LinkedIn.
Sorry?
You both are on LinkedIn, so I can get connected on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
For both.
Okay.
Any questions?
Everyone, please feel free to ask. Yes, Kunal.
Good evening, everyone. I'm fifth year law student from Punjab University, Chandigarh. So, Vishti ma'am and Rajesh sir, I have also done my internship in Center for Research and Planning. So there I have interaction.
I was there when you were interviewing. I'm not sure.
I guess, yes, I guess आपके एक दो दिन ही आप वहाँ पे थे, उसके बाद आपने छोड़ दिया था यार, I guess, जहाँ तक मुझे ध्यान आ रहा है. विष्टि मैम के साथ मैं अनुराग भास्कर सर के ऑफिस में मिला था, शुभम सर के साथ. उस टाइम पे थोड़ा इंटरेक्शन हुआ था. यस सर. तो अभी सर, अभी मैं बहुत
I think is it my internet or it's the question?
DLLB सर.
Kunal, sorry, आपकी voice break कर दी. Can you repeat that, please?
Hello.
हाँ.
I am audible now.
Yes, now you are.
मैम एक बार मेरा वर्क एक्सपीरियंस बता देता हूँ, उसके बाद आप मैं क्वेश्चन पूछ लूंगा मैम. आई गेस मतलब इससे पहले मैम मैंने सीबीआई में एज ए इंटर्न सर्व किया, जस्टिस एस मुरलीधर सर के पास भी मैंने सर्व किया मैम. इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ लीगल ड्राफ्टिंग एंड रिसर्च में भी काम किया. एडवोकेट दुष्यंत दवे सर के ऑफिस में भी काम किया मैम. जुडिशियल इंटर्नशिप किया और थोड़ा टैक्सेशन में भी काम किया. टैक्सेशन स्टैंडिंग काउंसिल थी यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया के, उनके साथ काम किया. तो हम इन right now I am confused what I have to do, or pursue an LLM or go for the litigation and like career opportunities, ma'am. Because right now मतलब ऐसा कोई मेरा कोई लो बैकग्राउंड नहीं है कि मतलब मैं लिटिगेशन के लिए एकदम से चला जाऊं या लाइक दैट, और इवन फॉर द रिसर्च एंड LLM. तो आई एम currently very confusing what I have to do and what I have not to do. तो आप थोड़ा इस पे गाइड.
I think Can I go forward, Mr. Then you can complement later. I think there are two ways to look at Kunal. It's always okay to be confused. It's not bad thing. We all have been different point of life. In fact, sometime also we also get confused with a lot of things.
Yes, sir.
There are three strands. One, that what do you want to do after fifth year? It's always very crucial, or zigzag time to navigate in terms of career. If you think that in this way, that if you want to, let's say, that corporate job, at least begin with something, and then
Yes.
when you start with something, then you also feel that whether this is the right thing or not, then you will not get to know until you begin it. So maybe if you want to, let's say, work in litigation, join a chamber. These days, lot of litigation fellowships comes from, and endless brings, as I was saying, Justice S. Rajan has a 6 month fellowship. J.S. Verma gives 30,000 per month. So if you, let's say, join a chamber which gives you 30,000 and then 30,000 from the fellowships, you have a decent salary to begin with as a litigating lawyer. So my point is that would be, is that to begin with something, coming to LLM and research, I would say that research is not just, as Christy was saying, that, today I think that I should do a research and tomorrow I will bring something which is new. It's not. It's an everyday process. Many of people were researching in the field for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, especially if you see people who are doing a kind of research in scientific field and scientific and elite field. So I would say that begin with something, plan it out, and then figure it out on the way. This is the only way that many people have done it in the past, and this is still the only way which is, I would say, that you can figure it out. And it's okay because it's final year, so you will always have a surge of emotions to think on these lines. Maybe you give the law clerk examinations if you think that is one way to also to enter into the profession. Uh, Apply for judicial fellowships if you have this courage, and if you want to prepare yourself to work in the international organizations. There are tons of judicial fellowships that comes each year, and they take fresh law students to begin with them. So these are, I think, fellowships. There's also Indigenous People Fellowship, Disability Rights Fellowship, which is very important to work on these niche area of work. So think on these lines. It's not that, for instance, I would say that I'm doing next month a thing which I've never done in my life, to go and work in a law firm. So
Yes, sir.
it's very different. I mean, you should take a chance, something which new to you, and then you can build it on further. Best you can add it if you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I agree with what Rajesh is saying. I know obviously, it's a difficult, like Rajesh is saying, fifth year is obviously now you are moving out, and there's a lot of thoughts and confusions, which is bound to happen. But I would still say that instead of thinking of going for an LLM directly, I think you should work because one, I think if you are able to work for a bit, it gives you a better idea of what kind of a master's do you want to do. Do you want to do a general LLM? Do you want to specialize in something? If you want to apply abroad, it helps to have work experience because then you are more likely to receive funding and fellowships. And I think obviously Rajesh is in the better position to speak about this, but you can build on your experiences then, and you can say that you have some amount of work behind you, which speaks for the kind of work you might want to do in the future, collaborations you want to do, and it also helps you as a master student if you have that kind of experience, because then you are not just reading texts, but you can relate them with experiences you have had, work that you have done. So I know it's daunting, but I think begin somewhere, and if you can, then I think begin with litigation, because that will give you like a better understanding of the law. Like Rajesh said, I think judges' chambers are great places to apply. You can join a chamber, see the kind of work that is done for a bit, simultaneously also apply for fellowships, and then if you feel like you want to switch to research after that, or say even right now you feel like okay, parallelly you want to apply to both and see what comes your way, then I think that is something that you should look at instead of right now thinking you should go and do a master's straight out of college. I mean, I would say if you can wait for a while, then definitely wait for a while. It'll be a more rewarding experience then.
Yeah, many of us. I mean, Prasant is here. In fact, most of my friends who are in this evening group from across the world, or even in the different fellowships and scholarships that they have got, or even in the classroom. For instance, we have a friend, Prasant is knowing, Antonio, who is doing third masters and have an 8 year of experience. So different people comes. I have a one friend who is from Germany, and she was working as a litigating lawyer in Germany, constitutional court, and then worked for at least 10 years, I guess, and then did a master's in France, and then again came here. The kind of experience that you bring from, for instance, your work is very different in your classroom. For instance, the kind of experience on anthropology Prasant would bring in the classroom would be different from a person who has not done anything, because that would be very textual in nature. That would not be embedded in the experience of individuals, which is very prerequisite of anthropological work. So, I think I would suggest, I mean, if you think this is the way, I would say that at least join a litigating chamber, do a litigation fellowship, apply the lot of opportunity. There's a Asian law fellowships, which is, I think, which would come in a month or so from the Asian Law Society. This organization called Justice, which works in South Asia on the issues of legal aid. So you have multiple opportunities. You just need to sit it down and then relax a bit. And it's very, very crucial time when you have a surge of emotions. Friends are leaving 5 year of law school and, different things. But it's okay. I mean, just try it out and get it done.
Yes, sir. One more question, sir.
I do not have any of this. Ask the Anuprabha and Prasant.
Okay, sir, it's fine, sir. Actually, sir, I'm also confused in the place of the litigation, sir. Right now, I am graduating from Punjab University, Chandigarh, sir. Then it is confusing to start litigation in Delhi or Chandigarh, sir.
I don't think I'm the right person to comment on this. I never have a litigating experience in a typical sense. But I'm happy to connect you with Subham and some of my friends who are litigating, and then maybe you can talk to them and they will be a better person to guide you. If that sounds to be an option to you.
Yeah, that will be helpful, sir. Even I tried to reach out Subham, sir, even to the seed, sir, but I don't.
I'll speak for him. He had a family emergency last week, so he was traveling. So, and I mean, that could be the one reason of there's somebody who was sick in his family.
Got it, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kunal, for your question. Do any other participants have any question? You may feel free to ask them in the chat box or vocally. Okay. Seeing none, I would like to ask one question on my own. I am a student of law myself. I'm studying law at Nagpur University, and Nagpur University is actually a tier 3 university located in Nagpur, and it is a government university, so it does not have many opportunities. Even the batch size of our college is just 120 students in my batch. So I have like limited the social circle as well as a networking circle. But I just also, you mentioned a lot of fellowships as well as internships that mainly have offices in Pune, Delhi, Bangalore, etc. metro cities. So I was just wondering, should I proceed with offices that are existing in Nagpur currently for internships?
I think there are two ways to look at this, Anuprabha. One, that if you think that opportunity is worth enough to take it at anywhere. But it also comes with, let's say, some sorts of difficulty. One is that to live at that place. For instance, I didn't do much internship because you need money to live in Delhi or some other places. But in the hindsight, when I realize is that it's also that organization which support the students to do paid internships. But you on your own also write to these people, say that you come from this background, you don't have money to do internships, and they some of them, because I remember this book, Senior Advocate in Supreme Court, Nandita Rao, when I emailed her that I don't have money to do internships, I need money to live and sustain in Delhi, and she was very kind enough to give me 20,000 rupees that time in 2020 and 2021 to do an internships. So these are also some of the ways to to get internships, and so in that way you also don't have to think of the resources, and will also be fulfilling your goal of getting internships in these places. Reach out to them, tell that this is very important for me, and I would not be able to done without your financial support. Just be honest. I mean, there's nothing wrong in being honest about it. If Nagpur does not have say that you come from Nagpur and Nagpur does not have this opportunity, Delhi has, Bangalore has, and let me do it in Bangalore. And if you can help me in that, I would be grateful. It's just send an email.
Right. Thank you so much. It was really helpful.
Also, sorry, just to add to that, if you also are looking for any specific kinds of internships and need help finding internship opportunities which might be paid, then we can also see if we can maybe put you in touch with people for that as well.
Sure, that would be great. So could I connect to you via LinkedIn later?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much.
Even I have a question.
So please.
Yeah, so someone previously said me that LLM can be done only once. So it's just my question, can someone do LLM twice as well, like if they want to?
People have done LLM 5 times. I don't know who has told you this. The people who has done, people who is doing third LLM in my batch. I was telling quite a while ago.
Masters. Okay.
Yeah, masters. They're doing masters. Prasad is doing second masters. He has masters from Azim Premji University and has done very well there, and is again doing very well here. So the people who has done a lot of masters, it's not that you can't do. You can always do. And in fact, the people who are doing second masters have a very different perspective on the first masters.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I have question about the recommendation as well. Likewise, many of us might not know that recent times there is much more weightage given to recommendation and references. Like I had done previous internships under judges. I had also done law clerk under a judge, but presently I am finding difficulty. Like Supreme Court judges mainly focus on recommendation. What was your previous?
Very generic recommendation, I mean.
Yeah, so people are suffering. So how you guys manage, what different you do, because nowadays judge seriously look for the personal relationship or good connections. Your talent is one thing, but your connections are one thing. You guys have told systematically how to build network connection and all that thing makes sense. But how to connect people personally, what different you do to make your place in Supreme Court judges and other things. Many of us can do law clerkship under High Court judges in state, but Supreme Court needs some wider ambit. So would you like to help us, because the reality check hasn't been given yet, I feel. So can you guide in detail if someone has skills but they are finding difficulty to make themselves feel stable in the field? So please give some kind of tips to make someone feel little bit stabilized or make themselves fit in the profession, something like that.
I mean, let's be honest, there's no magic bottle that I can or Vishti can give you and say that, you can fit in that realm. But having said that, there's two ways to look at this. One, that whom you want recommendation for. For example, I would give my own example. I worked with a lot of judges, but my recommendation was written by my professors and my just immediate supervisor who was supervising me at that time. So I never took any just recommendation, despite the fact that I worked with many of them very closely. So recommendations should be written by somebody who knows you quite well, who has seen you, in a progress. There could be person. For instance, let's say that we are working together 4 years. If I want him to comment on my work, he would be in a better position to comment on somebody else. It's what you write in the recommendation is more important. I know a person whose recommendation was written by Chief Justice of India at that time and didn't get anything. I mean, not even the admission. So it doesn't matter who's writing the recommendation. At least in my experience with the international bodies, is that it doesn't matter who's writing. It actually matters what is being written in the recommendation. If it's written that the person has, so recommendations should not be generic. The problem with the recommendations from the High Court judges, or to certain extent also from the Supreme Court judges, I mean, in the sense that they don't have time to to work and interact with you in a very closely manner, because there's a board of matters which is being put on them of 80 matters in a day or 86 matters in a day. What you can do differently in that sense is that be unique in your presentations, as I was saying, that do something in the draft which you are submitting which is different from your peers or colleagues. For instance, you're writing something which is they have not even think on the questions of law, can make you, can catch their eye and say that this person has done something very different from the what other has not done. So this could be one way, but I will be honest, there's no any kind of magic bottle that you can do to fit in these realms. It's very unpredictable. It's also sometimes personality driven. Some judges are, in that sense, doesn't want to talk. Some judges I know is very, very good in that sense to, nurturing people, promoting them, holding hand to extent that, to guiding them to in the foreign admissions as well. But it again, I mean, it depends on individual. There are also judges who does not like to talk to people and, even to their law clerks. So you can't do much of the moods of the people. I mean, it's just a problem which all of us sadly features in the early careers. But two things is very important. Get a recommendation from somebody who knows you quite well, who knows your work quite well, who have seen you progress. And second, even if you want, let's say that, be in the realm of to work with the Supreme Court or High Court judges, do something which is different than your peers. I would give example. I was working with a High Court judge in Allahabad High Court, and across the years now he's a retired, and I industry and some of our friends also went to his home before coming here. What I did in my internship with it differently was a question of law on section 144, and my peers were saying that section 144 can be imposed in a slightly lenient manner because to contain the law and order. What I did was that I went into the historical perspective of 144, say that the origin of 144 is very different than what we say. So these could be some of the nuanced, layered aspects. And it's also that the judge was also a very kind person to look in on these factors. It's always the other way around. If person does not want to give the recommendation, you can't do anything. So yeah, I mean, you need to think on these lines and don't take these factors more seriously. Rather than build and invest in yourself and get a recommendation from somebody who can actually write. For instance, my professor wrote almost 6 pages of LOR for my admissions, and that was for me more than what any judge could write. I mean, because he has been seeing my growth for more than 7 years and known for me from different capacities. So that's important than any. In fact, I would give example from Prasant also. Prasant and I had a friend who is now teaching in Azim Premji University. He was a fellow in Edinburgh. And what he can comment on Prasant is very different from what even, let's say, Prasant works with somebody who has known Prasant, has seen his work, but not known so personally as a person also. Recommendation involves 3 stages. One is that who you are, how do you know the person, what kind of work that the person has done, and how these 2 factors are related to what you can do in the future. If a person does not fit in these 3 criteria, there's no point to take LOR.
Also, just to add to what Rajesh is saying, I think be consistent in how you show up at work or in academic spaces, and be proactive, because these are the only 2 things that you can do to ensure that you might stand out for somebody. Because you really don't know what will catch whose eye, right? Like Rajesh is saying, so many judges they are not open to speaking with law clerks, consultants at all. They'll feel like, okay, no, we have a certain stature, we don't want to engage. Versus other judges who are open to conversations, who are looking for you to give them quality work. So, and I think that's not true for just judges. It's true for even like senior partners you might work with in a firm. It's true for so many faculty, professors that you will interact with. So what is important is, one, to remember that, regardless of however somebody might treat you, you have value. And so you need to show up with that confidence that I am bringing something to the table. And it's too bad if you can't see it, but I am going to consistently show up with that and be proactive. Reach out to people. Some people might be rude or might like dismiss you, but that doesn't mean that, you know, you like the problem is in you. That is how somebody else chooses to like treat people. So I think that is something to remember, that yes, it is difficult to find your footing, but don't lose confidence in yourself. There is really, unfortunately, no, like Rajesh is saying, set way in which you can make sure that you have these connections or somebody will for sure give you a recommendation. You can just show up and be your best self and hope for the best then.
And trust me, work speaks for yourself. I obviously work with almost a lot of judges in the Supreme Court, and we know it as a fact that she would agree with me is that there are at least many of judges who actually admires the work of young people to call the law clubs and say that this is a very good draft and I want to improve over it. Yeah, this is the fact that you can also look, and this is the book that you can. The judges also suggested me books to read. You can, I'm not saying to always look at the positive side. I said, and both of us highlighted that there are also different humans who have a different work, style of working, and that's fair. You don't need to be stick to that. Tag the person who is more interested in your work and can guide you better. There are, trust me, numerous people who can guide you everywhere in law firms and different academia. You need to just find out to them, just show up for them and tell them that this is the thing I need your help. This is the thing that you can only help me. You are the one who can help me. Give them a trust. Show them that that you have a trust in them. It's sometimes mutual. Sometimes it's also that mood of the persons. Just be contingent on the fact that it can be done. It's a doable thing.
Thank you.
Yes, Deepak, you can also ask later.
Okay, so I have a very personal question, short and concise. So, hi Rajesh sir and Justina. Good evening. I'm Deepak, a final year student at SNL Raipur, and also thinking to join corporate law firms once I'm done with my graduation. So, I have a query that many of the students, us being from marginalized or first generation learner background, we often feel that the corporate law firms are spaces which are primarily or mainly dominated by the elite social networks or upper caste privileged people, which create a sense of that we do not fully belong there when we enter those firms. At the very same time, you mentioned, Rajesh, that the importance of being pragmatic while navigating your profession, or despite you having ideological or political, maybe social differences. First question is this: how do you personally see this tension? And if you have some advice, what would it be? Just to give an example, recently I have had an internship at Khaitan and Company, which is tier one law firm. So when I joined the law firm, I had no connection, or I had not known any of the associate or senior associate or nobody. While my one of, many of the co-interns, they had their connection with the associate or senior associate principal, even till partners. So that's the question. If when it's
That's also this challenge that I am facing, Deepak, and I was in numerous conversation to you who has also told you that because I don't know. At this point of time, I feel law firms beyond India, and I'm also working on this to write in a more nuanced way, is to at least create this kind of discourse. I think I and Bristi were also talking about the commitment of there was kind of law firms, how law firm can be made accountable in a public setting. Our law firms, our in the sense the Indian law firms are not even a slightest of the 10% what the law firms in the other countries are doing in encountering and incorporating these factors. It's sad that you are facing this. I have a lot of friends who from the marginalized background are working the law firm. Still they feel that there's something that is missing in that sense. Missing in that sense, in a sense that they belong there, they have to get each people can to work that the others are doing. But there is no any kind of what you call, a zeal on the at least bring people from the diversity to give them a jobs. It's not that they can't give it, just they can give it, as you rightly said that. And I'm sure that I have known you, I have worked very hard to work in Khaitan and did internships, done a great work in the in your internships. But isn't the isn't it the responsibility of the partner to acknowledge this, to give that, yes, Deepak, come and join our work. We need you. We need your work and expertise. So I mean, I don't know. I don't have any answer precise to that to say that what could be the way forward. It's that we need to create a discourse. We need to make them accountable. Is that no law firms has to be. In fact, yesterday I and Prasant had a discussion, and we was talking about the resource of the people, and it's not the merit. I mean, come on. I mean, it's all is a facade that people puts up. I understand. I mean, I don't have precise any answer, to be honest, to say that what could be done. One thing that I could think is of the celebrity, to make them accountable, to build a network, and to kind of, because I won't name the person, but for almost for 2 years, I was talking to a law firm partner to. In fact, and Kamodi, you would be surprised, judges are more willing to give internships than the law firm partner. And this is because, maybe because the public nature of the work that the judges do. I mean, sorry, I mean, Deepak, I don't have any precise answer to give it. Is that what could be done and what could be the personal advice to navigate this? It's just that we need to make them accountable in many ways we can.
I think, sorry, just to add to that, like Rajesh said, I think maybe one thing to remember, of course, is that there is solidarity building which we need to do. And when you enter this space, whenever that may be, and hopefully soon, you know, and I know it's like a big responsibility for you to carry, but maybe you take that onus. You say that, okay, I will, in my capacity, try and bring in as many interns as I can. I will try and make this space more diverse. Of course, it's not a responsibility that you really need to carry, and it shouldn't be a burden. But I think um, if you can, whenever you are in those spaces, if you can do some collaborations, and I think, like you said, these are spaces which become like isolating for people from marginalized communities. So if it helps to speak to somebody, who has been in that setting, then I think those are also avenues which we could like look at.
Yeah, and also, I think the root problem is to go to these law schools. The structure of the law school is so elite and so problematic. I mean, in many ways, especially the recruitment sale of the universities, is that they don't understand the importance of the democratizing the law firm jobs. I mean, if you just go and see in a sense that who are getting to the law firm jobs, it's very. I mean, if a diversity survey would have been done of these law firms, many partners, head would die in the same if there's the same left to just to think on these factors. In fact, law firms abroad have more brown people, more racial minorities, ethnic minorities, and more Dalits and indigenous communities people than the Indian law firms.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I think there are two hands I can see, Pirapal and Sakshi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I received your email. It has been a very hectic week. I will respond to your email maybe this weekend.
Okay. So hello, sir and ma'am. Vrishti ma'am, I had worked with you at CRP last year in April month. And sir, I recently came across your article and I did send you an appreciation email about the discussions. So my question is regarding the High Court and Supreme Court clerkships. I always wanted to clerk at the Supreme Court, and I have also built my application. And since I don't have many connection, I built my CV based on academic writings first, and that's how I got into the internship at Supreme Court. Recently,
the results are not out yet, and I'm a bit confused of choosing my career. I'll be graduating this year. Uh, and do you suggest working as a clerk at a high court if I don't get or make it to the Supreme Court? Or do you suggest me working at the lower judiciary as an advocate for some time since I want to pursue my LLM abroad?
Yeah, I mean, I will not comment on the local. I mean, as a matter of propriety, I would not comment on local examinations. What happening there in the court, uh, and what is. I mean, we all have seen in the media what's happening with the exams. And then I think, as per the media report, they've said that they will bring some new results, I guess, and they blame that the third party
Yes, sir. Yes.
responsible. So I will not comment what happening and who's responsible for that. But regardless of the fact that clerkship, yeah, high courts clerkship are always good. I mean, it's because if they're paying you around 50,000, and if that's the consideration, and judges are working directly with the judges is always good than working with the registry. If you get this opportunity, then you should. I'm not sure what rank you will get in the clerkship examination, Sakshi, but if you get a chance to work with high court judges, follow some of the people on LinkedIn who they're law clerks. They put the vacancies. For instance, Delhi High Court is very notorious in that sense that they always invite people from via LinkedIn and all. Edit your CV, email them, and then many of the times I have a friend who is currently working with this Vikram Nath, and he got via LinkedIn that I edited his CV and then he applied and he was in the interview get selected. So this could be also the one of the way. And look at the offices. Some of the judges' offices are really nice, and they consider people to join. You can also think of the high courts like Rajasthan are also very good high court. Many of the judges are recruiting people and guides them in many ways. Just look at the LinkedIn and people puts the vacancies. Many of the law clerks, especially, puts the vacancies. On the second part, I think you asked that on the litigation questions. District courts are always, important place to learn trial and the proceedings of the basic proceeding that the criminal justice system has. But it's also that if personal circumstances allows you, then only do it. It's very less paid job and comes with a lot of caveats. I'm not discouraging you to do this. Just to put a caveat, but think through it. Clerkship would be a more nuanced way to begin with. Because since you are just graduating, you can also think of LAM fellowship. I have a friend who did a LAM fellowship, and then now he's working with he is yet to join Association for Democratic Reform ADR, if you know. So you can also we both of were in the same school in 2016.
So I did talk to Shubham sir as well, since he also did the LAM fellowship, and he guided me a lot. But I just wanted to get into the litigation.
Then apply for this fellowship which Mayuri I think received is the litigation fellowships. I guess some litigation fellowship, Indian litigation or something, which gives around. I will share the link with you, or maybe I will put you in touch with Mayuri who received this. Bisakha is doing also clerkship in Bombay High Court, I guess. So you can also talk to these people who are working in the high courts. It's always better to talk to people who are working in these fields, and they will give you a perspective which is, I think, more practical. But I'm not sure what would be the fate of law clerk examinations, as is with the case of AOR examination. So,
Sir, at Bombay High Court, they are taking applications via post, and we have to send our CV along with the recommendation letters. And based on that only, they are taking the law clerks as of now.
That's wonderful. Get your professors ready, talk to them, and say that you want this job. And if a professor is writing a letter, maybe if you have interned with anybody who has supervised your work for a considerable period of time, let's say 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, ask them to write an LOR and then dispatch the applications. No harm in trying, no harm in getting and working with the High Court. And Bombay High Court, since as a matter of fact that they receive a lot of voluminous matters, and you get to learn a lot with judges. Brief writing, questions of law, research. Your writing will be improved. So yeah, I mean, and there are law clerks who are working before there, so they may also guide you in that sense.
Speaking to Vishakha might be a good idea. Like Rajesh said, you can also understand from her if there is anything specific that you should highlight in your CV,
Yeah.
which idea. So
Yeah, and litigation also, if you are more interested in litigation, there are actually a lot of fellowships that you can apply. Only concern is that again the fellowships also gives around 20-30,000, which is, in my opinion, I mean, these fellowships also should increase the money, but they are also bound by a lot of constraints. I think Prepal is putting a hand together. I may not be able to take questions beyond the 7 minute with the permissions of organizer. Sorry.
Thank you,
So
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
yeah, because it's already 3:30 of the British time, so I have some work at 4. So Peripal and then Achal, we can talk to you later because since we have answered your question before.
Okay.
Peripal,
Thank you
yes.
so much for your answers.
I
You're
think
taking.
Peripal wants to ask something.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So we can take his questions
Can I say something?
and yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, Jaideep, first of all, introduce myself. My name is Priyapal, and I'm an artist. Uh, I'm done my both degrees, graduation and master in theater arts, and currently I'm work in a commercial field like film, televisions, and serials also, series also. So I have two questions about that because of I my English is not good. So how can I prepare IELTS exam? And because of I have a 6 years gap, so that is okay for going to abroad or what? So
Yeah, Pripal, I think that's not an issue. People takes a lot of, it's us Indians who believe that there is everything for a right age. There's nothing for right. In fact, I was talking to my family today and I was saying that there is no right age exists in Europe. People do whatever they want to do at whatever age they want. I have a batchmate who is in I mean, not early, late 40s, and then she's doing her master's. She's also working in a law firm here in the UK. So I don't think you need to think on the the career gap in that sense. On the second part of IELTS, I had in beginning a bit difficulty, but I guess the key is the practice, because if you practice, you will get a lot of, clarity on this. So I will share a link with you which have a lot of practice test. And there is also a friend of us, Anas, who did a video with a session with Savitribai Phule Resource Center, and he has a lot of practical insight because Anas comes from a very fancy English setting. So you can also watch that video. I will share the link with you. So you can practice it. Practice is the key. And having said that, you need to first figure it out what you want to do. What the course you want to do in abroad. I mean, if it's something in theater and all, then here in UK, there is a Hungarian School of Arts, which is very good here. Uh, Plenty of colleges are there. So ask us some of the arts degree as well. So you can think on these lines, or you want to do a law. I don't know. It's also very hot here in the UK.
I decide one university which is in London, Royal Holloway University of London.
Yeah, Royal
So
Holloway,
there is
yeah.
one course, yeah, yeah. So there is one course which is uh, direction in theater. So
There's
I
also,
would
I
like
think, Royal
to,
Institute of Arts as well, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
These Royal Institutes are actually very good because I had once, yeah, this is the Royal Institutes of Arts, which is in Sweden, Stockholm. You should think of this because this is very old school. It's 1735 and has been doing a great work in your field. I will send the link of that college to you. Sweden has a lot of scholarship as well. lot of scholarships. Even for the PhD, they gives a lot of scholarship.
Okay. So how
I'll
can
share the link
so
with you. I have your number. I and Prepal were in the same fellowship some 4 years back when we went to rural Gujarat, if I remember.
yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions, Prepal, or is that answered your query? I have just 3 minutes, guys. So,
Yeah. Right now, right now done. But whenever I query, I will ask with
so just text me.
you.
I maybe take time to respond, but I will respond eventually.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Thank you so much.
Uh,
Yeah, of course, Akshay, I will email to you on the email that you sent me, and not today, then tomorrow.
Rajesh and Vristi, I have just shared the LinkedIn request. And one more thing, how to get in corporate law.
I cannot answer that 2 minutes, Achal. I am sorry, but we can talk it later. Uh,
Can you share the email ID so I can write it down on email if
Sure, we
possible?
can chat it later. You don't need to worry. I have my email, contact, everything with Prasant and Anuprabha. You can ask them, and we can talk it later.
Thank you.
I have to go somewhere, and it's already 3:30, so I have to rush.
Alright, thank you for answering so promptly. Yes. And I believe we are coming to the end of today's session. I would just like to express the esteemed gratitude on behalf of Savitribai Phule Resource Center and the School of International Studies for both of you to have you join. And we hope that today's discussion was really productive and completely soulfully helpful for everyone who joined today. Thank you, everyone, and have a very wonderful evening ahead.
Thanks to Prasant, to you, Anuprabha, for such a well management. And sorry, Achal, to not answer your last question, but promise I will get back to you.
Thank
And
you,
then
everyone.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
everyone.
Vrishti and Rajesh. It was really nice to hear you. A treasure of experience in law. I came to know a lot of new things. So thank you so much. And for those students who are part of our abroad batch, so basically tomorrow I personally having just we are having this writing workshop for SOPs. So we'll be just sitting and like randomly writing SOPs like live. So that would be helpful for many of you. So all those who are part of a broad batch, they'll get link on the group so you can join. And thank you again, both of you. And yes, yeah,
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Jai
Bye,
Bhim.
bye, Mishti. Bye, bye, Anuprabha. Jai Bhim.
Bye bye. Thank you so much. Jai Virat.